All right, welcome to 15-minute consulting best practices. My name is Maria Isabel Rios. I am here with David A. Fields, and it seems that it may just be the two of us today from the error we just got. So if you're here today, more important than ever, let us know. We don't know if we're here by ourselves or not. Regardless of that, we're here to answer your questions about how to create success for you, for your consulting firm, and how to create more traction, right? And deliver that success to your clients and to your network. And regardless of whether you're all here or not, or you get to see this in replay, we're going to answer questions that were submitted earlier during the week. So
maybe just you and me. That's okay. Maybe it's
just us today. I don't know. We'll see. Technology. There's a blizzard going on in the north. There's all sort of weather events, and we'll get to see what happens. I think you are in the middle of it, David, somehow. So.
There's a blizzard. I'm looking out. Then we need to get to questions. It's snowing so hard and wet and so windy that the trees have snow stuck to one side. They've got like 3 or 4 inches of snow just stuck to the sides of the trunks. I've not really seen that too much.
Well, in the Caribbean, we call that cartoon snow, right? Because it's how it snows in cartoons and not in real life. But anyway.
Wow. Well, yeah, looks like it's just going to be you and me and Deidre.
And so, Deidre, why don't you share the first question that was submitted during the week, and we'll take care of that one. This question is from John. John said, I've been trying your 111 email approach, and it hasn't been as successful for me as you said your benchmark is. All right, John. Could you look at an example and critique it? Okay, so very smart, John, to include your example, because this way we can give you some feedback. David can give you some feedback of what we know right away. It's not a 111 email. So, Hi, name. It's been a while since we connected. How are things with you? A lot has changed on my side. I got my book translated, have been growing my consulting, leading the Angel Investment Network for group, and now in the food sector. How about you? Still looking into risk management for medical products. Best, John. Okay, it's a good thing we have time, David. You can give John your full answer and a full array of thoughts around this. So, what do you think?
I'm really glad that someone submitted this. So, John, when you watch this, since it looks like it's just you and me, Isabel, thank you for submitting it, because I think a lot of people struggle with 111 emails in practice. What we know is that when you do them right, when you structure them right, when you construct them and send them out regularly, you will have about a 40% response rate. That benchmark has been pretty consistent, and we've done this across so many clients that we know that. And if you're not having that result, then like John, there's something in the message. Isabel, you were about to say something.
That 40% refers to people in your network core who are warm, or cool connections, not cold outreach, right?
Right.
So, beware of what you apply to, and that is important as well, right? Because you can have the best 111 crafted message in the world. If you are applying it to cold outreach, that's not the benchmark either. So. All right, now jump into the actual message, if you will.
Yeah, so what was funny is, I'd have to almost go back and look at it. Deidre, I might ask you at some point to put it back on the screen. But the funny thing is, there was a good 111 message at the bottom of that. But in general, so what I would give you feedback I'd give you, John, is you're not getting the results because you're not actually writing strong 111 messages. So just to clarify, 111 message is one focus, which is them. So the focus of the message is them, one, not you and them, not you, just them. It's one line, and it's one easy to answer question. And you kind of failed on all 3 of those.
So, Deidre, let's go back to the message for a second while David speaks.
Right. So the message contains all sorts of information about you. I mean,
Right.
it starts, you know, a lot has changed on my side. I got a book translated. I've been doing this, right? This is all about you. So right there, it's not, you've kind of failed the one focus test.
Right.
It's clearly not one line or anything close to one line. You have one line, it's been a while since we connected. How are things with you? And then you've got this really long paragraph about you. And then you have another thing. So we failed on the one line criteria.
Right.
And instead of one question that's easy to answer, you have three questions. How are things with you? Not an easy question to answer. That is a surefire way to get someone to not answer your email, because that will take some time to think through. How about you is similar to that first one. Again, that's just like so broad. And then you actually have a good 111 question. Still looking into risk management for medical products. That's an easy yes, no question. So Deidre, we can come off of that. And on the fly, I'll do a 111, because 111s are so easy. It can be hi name. It's been a long time since we've connected. Are you still looking into risk management for medical products?
That's right.
That's it. There you go. Like literally, that's all it is. And so the reason your emails aren't working is because you're focused too much on you. You're asking for too much information, which will make people put aside your email and then never answer it. 111s work because responding is really easy and it shows you're interested in them. So there you go. There's my comprehensive feedback. Isabel, did I miss something? You want to add something? Want to change my 111?
Of course, I am in absolute agreement with you. The one nuance I want to highlight, because I know you know this, David just said it, and I want to emphasize it because it's so important and we often miss it, right? And we see this all the time when people are starting to craft 111. John, if medical management of medical products is what you do, John, then that's not a good question. It's only a good question if it is what the recipient does in their job. So make sure the question is always about them, right? It's a phenomenal question if it is their job. If it is your job, they're going to interpret it as you wrote and you're asking me if I'm if I'm interested in buying consulting services from you, in which case it's a terrible 111.
Yeah,
right?
You're absolutely right. That's such a good point. Deidre, will you put that up one more time? Yeah, let's look at this bottom. Are still looking into risk management for medical products. I think your read on that was correct, and my read on it was incorrect, Maria Isabel, which is it sounds like there was a possible engagement around that. And he's like, are you still interested in that engagement? Which is totally wrong. So it's not a good 111. You were really smart to call that out. I was thinking he was thinking this is something that person, because I'm in 111 mindset. I'm in right-side-up mindset. I assume that John was asking about something that was core to that person's job, but I think I was wrong. I think you were right.
Could be right. I don't know either way. I just want to make sure when you're writing the question, make sure it's a question about what they do, about what they care about, not a question about that could be interpreted as you wanting to sell more business. Okay? Yep. Because what you want is the person to say yes or no, ideally yes or no question that tells you something about them, right? And not that tells you, yes, I want to have a conversation with you because I have an engagement coming up. That will come later. Don't worry, don't stress. That comes. What you want is an answer to your message. That is not, please don't write to me again, right? That's the answer you don't want to ever get from anybody. So focus on relationships, focus on them, right? Back to the thought, and do everything exactly the way David said to do it. And you will get 4 people out of 10 on average to write back to you. And that's a great place to be at. If you have a sizable enough network, you will get into enough conversations. That's how you create traction. So a little bit of homework for you to do, John, today. Go back as you think of your one-on-ones. You have the formula. It's doable. And it takes a little bit of practice. You all can do it. So it creates success for you and for your firms. All right.
I agree on that one. All right. Let's see if we can do another question. We have no questions from the audience because there's no audience today because of
there isn't any, so let's keep going.
Fortunately,
all right.
Deidre, do we have more in the bag? Okay, Wiles. I know Wiles. I finished a context discussion, but found out there are 2 more decision makers at the prospect. They just joined the team because of a merger with client. Oh, okay. Do I need to go through the context discussion again? What do you think? Does he need to go through it again?
So, Wells, first of all, thank you for your question, and good on you for having a context discussion, right? A full systemized discovery. Also good on you for saying, okay, now we have more stakeholders. What do we do? And yes, Wells, the right thing to do is to go back to them again. Why? They're stakeholders in your project. You want to have their perspective. You want to understand what the success looked like for them. What are their risks and the concerns? What do they value? Why do they think this is important to do now? All of the questions you ask your original stakeholder, who is still a stakeholder, who's still a decision maker, you want to ask your new decision makers, right? Even if it's only to confirm that they're in agreement with your original decision maker, you want to hear them say that in their own words. And you want them to feel heard and to feel part of the process of getting this proposal together. Now, you can do that ideally together, right? And say, look, we got some answers. We drove through the questions, but I want to get your point of view as well. It's important to me to understand what's your perspective as coming into this effort as part of the merger. Now, if you cannot do it with the 2 of them together, do it separately, right? Do you need to have another hours-long discussion? Probably not. At some point, you may even want to share the context document you prepare and say, I want to sit down with you and get a refresh with your added perspective, right? But yes, sit down with the decision makers. That's my take on it. David, what's your take?
Yeah, well, I agree with you. And I think, to me, there's an interesting, not nuance, but some complexity on this one because it's a merger, as opposed to just 2 more people got added to the team or something like that. So 100% what you said. And I think it becomes even more important because it's a merger situation, and mergers are risky times for consultants and also great opportunities. If it's truly a merger, usually there are not mergers of equals. There's even in a merger, there's one firm that's more equal than the other. And if the people coming in, the new stakeholders, the new decision makers, are on the side of perhaps more equal,
right?
Question is, do they already have their own folks that they want to have be brought in there? And if so, you need to get in there and stave that off by creating relationship, by doing all of the smart work, the hard work you did in the context discussion. So it becomes even more important because you now need to build relationships with folks that are potentially coming in and might have their own ideas or feel they need to make a change. So that's the other piece I would throw on there.
Yeah, and imagine how high the risk is for Wiles to assume they're in agreement, win a project, get into the project, and then find out as he's driving a project that they want different outcomes, or that there's a piece that's missing that's very important to these stakeholders, right? As he's getting ready to deliver the project. So you don't want to miss on that either. Even if presumably you could win the project without them, you don't want to do that. That's not a good scenario either.
That's absolutely right. And look at that. We've hit already there are 15 minutes, just the two of us. For anybody watching, Maria Isabel and I can spend many, many iterations of 15 minutes just chatting through these issues with each other. But we've had this time. Hopefully you're able to see this on replay, in which case, thank you for spending the time with us. Really important announcement, which is next week, we're going to have a special guest on, Chris Vaughn, who's an expert in trade associations. And trade associations are one of the 5 marketing musts. And if you're not leveraging them to build your practice, you're missing out on a powerful tool. So make sure you've got Monday Live. Thank you, Deidre, on your calendar, and that you come next week and submit questions in advance just for Chris. And so that's that. Also, let's see, subscribe. Yes, if you don't receive our articles, thank you, Deidre. Make sure you're subscribed using that link that Jaren put there. And if you're not connected to Maria Isabel or to me on LinkedIn, well, gosh, connect to us. And that way we could write a 1-1 message to you.
Right.
So, exactly. So thank you so much. Appreciate you being here, even in replay. Have an amazing week. Remember, consulting is about them. It's about your clients and your prospects. So give them value and give them kindness. And Chris Vaughn and I will see you next week. Take care, all.
Thank you.